Super Bernie World is not your typical platformer. Sure, it contains the usual enemies, with a boss battle at the end of each world, and sure, there are power-ups. But what sets this game apart from the rest is the speedrunning community. For no immediately apparent reason, Super Bernie World has had more than 100 runners, and has gone from a casual speed game to an incredibly optimized time of gameplay that can be ruined with a single mistake. The intimidating tricks used by the speedrunners are costly, and can easily go wrong. Nonetheless, the gameplay is almost mesmerizing. Today, we will be going through the world record history of Super Bernie World. The premise of Super Bernie World is simple. Venture across the 4 worlds the game has to offer, collecting coins and power-ups while defeating enemies, many of whom are similar to their Super Mario Bros. Counterparts. Interestingly, it is a speedrunner's best interest to collect as few coins as possible on their journey, as the screen that shows up once completing a level scrolls down slightly slower with each collected coin. Also, much like in Super Mario Bros., the game runs on a 21 frame rule. As the creator of the game put it, after the score finishes counting, there is a short pause followed by the game waiting for either the current frame of the level being cleanly divisible by 21, or for the game to be on a different frame rule than when it started waiting. A frame rule is defined as 21 at 60 FPS, though the game can be above or below 60 frames per second. Thus, it is better to call a frame rule 0.35 seconds than 21 frames in this game. The first speedrun of Super Bernie World was done on March 9th, 2020 by a user named LizStar. There isn't a whole lot to say about this run, but it clocked in at 9 minutes and 38 seconds, setting a bar that required all good runs to be sub 10 minutes. The run was generally not much notable, as Liz picked up and lost power-ups multiple times, most notably in World 1-3. Overall, the movement was unoptimized, and she took her time getting through the levels so as to not die, but nonetheless, Liz died twice in World 4. Despite all of what I've said, this run is still nothing to scoff at. Unfortunately for Liz, just a day later, this happened. A speedrunner known as Quackworth completed a run of the game in just 8 minutes and 8 seconds, already shaving a whole minute and a half off the world record. This run uses strategies very similar to Liz's 938, and generally just optimized the movement and power-up grabs, though it took the time to do a clip into the ceiling in each of the boss levels. Even with the naked eye test, you can tell that this is a solid run, especially by the standards of the time. And this time, Quackworth managed to die not a single time, saving even more time from the old world record. Fort 2 is a notable spot where Quackworth speeds everything up over Liz. However, Quackworth still wasn't powering through the levels at full speed. There were still pauses to stop deaths. That would leave space for a super optimized world record. But who would get the first sub 8? Yet again, it only took 1 day. The next day, speedrunner Shunard got this insane run. And don't let the splits fool you. This run was good. absurdly good. Chouinard implemented many tricks that are still used in runs to this day, such as the Trash Man jump in 1-2, and this YOLO jump in 4-1 to skip the pipes where, if you fall off, you die. Chouinard's run truly revolutionized the game, and when you put all the pieces together, the first sub-8 wasn't even close to the old world record. Oh, yeah, by the way, you should probably remember this name for the future. I've got a feeling Chouinard is going to do good things in this game. At this point, sub 730 was nothing less than inevitable. This game's world record history is crazy, so, of course, the next day, a runner named Sidsef got this.
No, I've got a bit slow on the timer, but that's a sub 730. It's another record, but I just gotta get food. My tea's ready. I think that run was a bit faster than it actually was, though. Because, you know, I was a bit slow on the clock.
Well, you may not think so, but Sidsef had the verified world record, at least for a day. This run was just a cleaner version of what Chouinard did. Interestingly enough, Sid opted not to do the Trash Man jumps, and instead grabbed the Fist power-up in 1-2. Despite that, however, Sid still managed to pull off a new best time of 7:29. Interestingly enough, Sidsef also appears to have beaten Lizstar's time on the 10th, though this time was slower than Quackworth and was not verified until the next day. Now, the game becomes a fight for seconds. The days of shaving off half a minute with faster gameplay were gone. However, a new runner appeared on the scene at this time, and he quickly established control of the world record with a 7:23. This is Wailmer Noir. Right off the bat, however, Wailmer would not go without opposition, as Chouinard returned and proceeded to drop the world record multiple times, first to a 7:22, then to a 7:19, and then a 7:15. Wailmer was not about to be bested though, and he fired back with a 7:13. Unfortunately for Chouinard, this would be his last individual world record. Now, it was time for Wailmer to keep dropping that record time down. A little over a week after their 7:13, on April 7th, Wailmer got a 7:11. Chouinard also tied this time with a 7:11 of his own. Unfortunately, the leaderboards do not specify by frames, but it appears that Chouinard's run was slightly faster. For the sake of this video, however, due to the leaderboards, we will call this tied. Interestingly enough, in the description of the run, Wailmer claims that a 7:10 is straight up impossible, excluding Taz. Well, little did we all know, that was about to be blown out of the water. On May 6th, 2020, Wailmer was on a solid run. It left World 1 tied with record, and in World 2, Wailmer managed to save one frame rule, that's 0.35 seconds. And in World 3, Wailmer did it again. Now 0.8 seconds ahead, it was just time to finish it. And Wailmer's reaction to getting a time once thought to be impossible was pure gold. Now that Wailmer had a 7:10, it was just a matter of squeezing every last second out of the game. How far could it go? Well, 7:09 was possible, and Wailmer got it thanks to more World 3 time save. This was tied by Chouinard, who was just 2/100th of a second away from getting a world record of 7 minutes and 8 seconds. So, 7:08 was possible. And Whalmer did it, though the footage has been lost today, and it is a verified run, so we do know what happened. We know from splits, however, that it was a 7:08.01. So, 7:07 would undoubtedly be possible, though it would be excruciatingly hard. And after 2 whole months, Whalmer got this run. And ladies and gentlemen, that is where the world record of Super Burning World stands today. Over 100 runners have dedicated hours upon hours to advancing this game's legacy, and in the end, a time of 7 minutes and 7 seconds was achieved. Maybe someday, someone will beat the time, and we will have to count by fractions of a second. But for now, Whalmer stands alone on top. Thanks for watching.